Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make this diagonal fold card on a card. I've done card on a cards before where they were either on the front or one of them had a little rectangle flap at the bottom that came up. This one is just a triangle. The nice thing about the fun folds and the card on a card is it sort of makes your recipient work to find the inside greeting. So I suppose some people would find that fun. I think it's a fun thing to do. It uses all the lovely new in colours. So without further delay, let me get started and I'll show you the ingredients that we need. So the main body is peach pie. That's one of the new in colours. And it's 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. So that's the standard size. Let me just give it a nice crease with the bone folder. That's the standard size, which we know fits into a regular medium envelope. Then there is a piece of designer series paper, which is cut the slightly smaller size down. So it's 5 1/4 by 4, which you would know typically would fit as a layer on the front. The card on a card part is 8 by 3 3/4, and it's scored at 4. Actually, you know what? Why don't we just go ahead and score that while we're busy? And then there are two pieces. One's designer series paper and one's basic white that fit onto the little inner card, and that is 3 7/8 by 2 5/8. I know there's 8, but we need them to make everything fit. So we'll pop the on a card part off to one side and we'll concentrate on the main body first. So I'm going to bring in a paper trimmer, and what we need to do is we need to cut this piece diagonally, and the best way to do that is to line it up in the paper trimmer. So you put the top corner in the trough and the bottom triangle. Now my advice would be to start at the top. You should always try to avoid trying to cut or score into a triangle because there's a chance you can crumple it. The other alternative, of course, is that you push the paper trimmer in, the cutting blade in, and slice up, but we've got a nice straight edge this time, so we're going to go from the top down to the point and cut that piece off. This piece is spare that you can use for other things on future projects. So now we've got the card body. Then what we need to do is cut the designer series paper. Now, of course, it doesn't matter which way up it went, but if you have directional paper, you need to be sure that you've got the direction the right way up, and you need the wider bit to be at the bottom leading off to the left. If you cut it the other way, you would then have to flip it round and the orientation of your cardstock wouldn't work. So we know we need to be wide across the bottom leading towards the top left hand corner. So we're just going to do the same. And now, because we've got 2 points, I'll show you the bit that I mentioned before. Rather than pushing into a point or into a point, we're just going to push the cutter in and go up, and then just come back down and finish that little piece, and then you don't risk getting any crumpled corners. Again, this piece is going to go over here. This piece will fit on, and if there had been an orientation, they would both run in the same direction. So let's go ahead and stick that on first. I'm actually going to bring in my silicone mat because I'm putting adhesive into points. I don't want it to overrun and get onto my work surface. So the easiest way to do that is to either put a piece of scratch paper underneath, but the silicone mat is ideal for that. And then we're going to layer this on with the little border, equal border around, and then we're going to put this one up in the top corner of the back part. But again, I'm just going to do it on my silicone mat, so none of the glue on the pointy triangles gets onto my work surface. And then we can, it's got a little bit overhang, then we can pop these in with a nice border, and now we've got a little line running down the middle. So we're going to go ahead and build the card on a card, and then we can assemble it into place. What I did on mine was to try and match this, which is on the Thoughtful Journey Designer Series paper. I have in the Painted Lavender, there's the same kind of reeds. So I'm actually going to use that on my card, but you can use any one that you happen to have. Oh, I've already put it onto a block. So I took it out and put it onto a block, and I'm going to be using Calypso Coral. However, Calypso Coral is a really strong colour. So I'm going to use the stamping off method, and I'm actually going to stamp it off twice. So I'm going to ink up the stamp, stamp it off once, stamp it off twice, and then stamp it on to the bottom of the cardstock. So stamp it off once, stamp it off twice, and then put it into the bottom. Just it gives the hint of the colour, because this would be awfully strong and I feel it would overpower the inside greeting on the card. So we can now go ahead and put the two pieces onto the little inner card. So of course the white one goes on the inside. And the Designer Series paper goes on the outside. They're both the same size, so they've got the same size of border around. And then what we need to do is attach it to the front of the card. Just put the adhesive on, and then what we need to do is line this up in the middle of the back area, and when it's lined up, hopefully the point of the inside card will meet the edge of the diagonal Designer Series paper. So that can go on. So then we'll flip it up, put the inside in, and you can see we've got the card on a card. And then last but not least, of course, we need a greeting. So I went ahead and I cut out, using the Stylus Shapes, this lovely little banner piece. And then I'm going to bring back in the Calypso Coral, and I'm using the Simply Said stamp. I love this stamp set. It's just got Simply Said. I mean, it's self-explanatory name. Lots of just simple greetings. The fonts are not too fancy, so I'm going to be using the Thinking of You. So we're just going to line that up in the middle of the little banner that I had pre-cut out. And then last but not least, we'll stick it on with some dimensionals. Throw off the backing papers and stick that on, and there you have it, two the same. I mean, they're slightly different because the Designer Series paper changes just ever so slightly as it goes across the 6x6, but I got two of these out of that one piece. So there you have it. It's got the diagonal, it's got the card on a card, and I think they're rather nice. If you like what you've seen, please consider subscribing or give me a thumbs up. I really like thumbs up, so thank you in advance. All the details and the dimensions will be on my blog, so you can check that out. And last but not least, thanks so much for watching.